Welcome back to Morning After, everyone. 10:33. If you're watching at home, the goal is to say hello to you at 10:30. That didn't happen today. It doesn't happen very often, does it, Yolanda? At some point, we're going to be called out for
it's
that.
a crapshoot. Sorry.
My bad.
My bad, right? Just keep it moving.
After what happened yesterday, it pales in comparison. What a day it was yesterday. And I found it interesting. I wasn't up late enough to watch it, but we were watching it this morning. It's not often, off the top of my head, the last time I remember this was 9/11, when the late night shows consistently across the board, the late night comedians, take a serious turn. And we wanted to show you some of that after yesterday's events in our nation's capital.
This was one of those days that I always assumed was behind us. This is not the sort of thing that I ever imagined would happen in this country in my lifetime. Trumpers today breached the Capitol walls. They stormed the Senate chamber, fighting with police, breaking windows, stealing things. Weirdly, the only respect that was shown was for the velvet ropes. For whatever reason, stayed within the velvet ropes. Maybe they should put those around the whole building and they'd stay out.
It's been a crazy day with everything going on. How are the Gaffigans holding up?
So all of them taking a serious turn with just a touch of humor, but really offering up commentaries. Even Jimmy Fallon had Dan Rather on to talk about this. So that strikes me as a moment in our history when those shows, each of them independently, sort of were reflecting back on what people are feeling and thinking. There were, it seems, a number of people there part of Antifa. There is a collective of people who want to believe that they were involved with and led this entire thing and were solely responsible for it. I think when there were 30,000 people in one place, it's a difficult proposition to say that they are solely responsible, yes. Yolanda.
And my thoughts and prayers go to the people who occupy the Capitol on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. I mean, the staff, our lawmakers, everybody. I mean, can you imagine how afraid they must have been?
Well, how violated you feel to know someone was in your office.
Yes, sitting with their feet on your desk, yes.
And leaving you a note. And I think the note said something like, we'll be back.
Wow.
There is a mob mentality. I mean, psychologists will tell you that when people get together, they will act out in ways and do things that they otherwise wouldn't do alone. And that sort of takes over. And law enforcement are trained to deal with that mob mentality and especially anticipate when there is a large crowd and there are questions about where there was a breakdown. Let's bring in Robert Riggs. You may know him from his True Crime Reporter podcast. He's been on our show before, but he also is co-host of a podcast, SWAT Brothers, and is here to give us his take on what we know so far, what we observed, and potentially, Robert, what went wrong. What are your thoughts?
Well, here's my opinion. It was the worst attack on American democracy since 9/11. And let me give you the context for your viewers of that. I was a congressional investigator and worked in that building for 4 years. I then was a congressional correspondent and covered the institution. And then in late 1999, I was asked to be part of a group at the Critical Incident Analysis Group, a study conducted at the University of Virginia. I was the media representative. There were representatives from a wide variety of federal agencies, the Smithsonian, the CIA, the FBI, and we wrote a report called Threats to Symbols of American Democracy. And the Capitol was one of those primary symbols that we expected to be attacked because it not only symbolizes national government, it symbolizes democracy and a democratic political system. And a lot of you don't know, I've got a degree in architecture, and one of the things I know is that the designers and builders of the U.S. Capitol made a conscious decision to make that work a physical reflection of the ideas and principles of the new American nation. So what this symbolizes to the world, it will be used as propaganda by authoritarian regimes. They will twist it and use it. But in terms of security, there's a huge breakdown here.
Mm-hmm. Well, from a 30,000-foot viewpoint, and I tweeted this out yesterday, I said, this is happening in a post-9/11 world. We're not talking about an impromptu gathering in an American city that took police by surprise. We're talking about the nation's capital, where, frankly, protesting and rallying is part of our constitutional right. We've seen it unfold before: the Million Man March, the March for Our Lives in 2018, the Women's March. It goes on and on, where even more people have gathered in the nation's capital. We've got our lawmakers in a joint session of Congress for one of the most important days every 4 years, which is certifying this election. And again, the question just remains, were they trying to allow them to do what their constitutional rights allow, and it got out of hand? Why were there not more people on standby to contain this crowd from a building that should be impenetrable?
I think it really reflects a breakdown that's going on in the federal government. It's the same thing we're seeing, that they can't get the vaccination out to immunize everybody with the coronavirus. I also think that with the criticism of defund the police and everything else, that the law enforcement has become reticent to really bring the forces out. And we paid a price for that yesterday. Clearly, there was plenty of warning what was coming. There should have been a perimeter around the building. I've talked to a number of law enforcement sources since then. I talk to them every day as part of the podcast. And let me just add, a member of my family is in national security intelligence and was an observer from the beginning of the day all the way to the Capitol for a study that's being conducted. And they described going to the first rally on the Ellipse as it was a mood of a football game. Everybody's, hi, how are you? Where are you from? Very friendly. But once Giuliani and Trump got on stage, they whipped that crowd into a mob frenzy. And it was their opinion they really incited this to happen and take place.
Robert, I saw where members of the media had a little camp set up with their monitors and mics and things. And then I saw footage of parts of the crowd start to damage all of the media equipment. What do you think this is going to mean for the media's safety moving forward with events like this?
You know, it's interesting. When I was an embedded reporter in Iraq and worked in those places, we were regarded as the enemy, just as the soldiers we were with. And now it's become that way on the streets of America. My family member witnessed a television news crew, getting attacked and beat up and by a mob. And they were screaming fake news, you're un-American, and these kind of things. And we know who coined the term fake news. And now we are reaping the benefits of it. Not the benefits, but the results.
Well, we will see.
I would be scared to be a street reporter in this day and age, just about anywhere, because you're very exposed. You're out doing live shots. You don't know what somebody's going to throw at you. And I've talked to members here of the media here that have told me that they've been fearful.
I found myself as a street reporter in 2000 in Seattle. The WTO was there, and it erupted into violence and rubber bullets and tear gas, and I was not in the center of it, on the perimeter, experienced some of that. And there are moments where you really question, is this a profession I want to be in? While the virtues of telling someone's story and covering events begins to infringe on your feeling of safety and security. And unfortunately, there are many people in what's been dubbed the mainstream media who feel that way, Robert. And I know you've been part of the MSM, as they call it, as are we. And thank you for sharing your insight and your knowledge. We do appreciate it, and we'll have you back as well.
Thank you, Robert.
And you can check out, Robert has a remarkable podcast, True Crime Reporter. We've had him on to talk about that. And again, he also has a SWAT Brothers podcast, which you can find on all platforms. It really